Hello, and welcome to the Christmas special of the Leopard Reviews. I'm Peter LEoPARD. And to be honest, I've kind of failed a little bit here because I intended to, well, have this all done before Christmas, and it's the day before New Year's Eve, so I'm a little bit behind. And I also don't have my Christmas hat, which I was going to have on, so a little bit of a letdown there. Right, yeah, so I did the same thing again that I did with the previous film, which I ended up reviewing Twilight because of. I put a poll on Facebook and asked people to sort of vote for their favourite Christmas film, you know, the film that defined Christmas for them. And the film that was voted top of the list was Muppet Christmas Carol. And I was really glad about that because I really like the film. So, you know, an opportunity to watch it again is always good. I just finished watching it. And, well, yeah, okay, so here are my thoughts. I mean, it's not going to be very long, because, you know, not got that much bad stuff to say about it. I mean, you know, it's the classic story. Everybody knows the story of A Christmas Carol, you know. Grumpy old Ebenezer Scrooge gets visited by three ghosts and, you know, eventually realises what the spirit of Christmas actually is. So, okay, yeah. I mean, first off, it's a Muppet movie, so you know exactly what to expect. Kind of sets that look a bit like kind of stage shows and stuff. Lots of songs. You know, all your classic Muppet characters: Kermit, Miss Piggy, Gonzo, Rizzo, and you know, I love the way that they're all kind of cast. You know, they've, you know, Rizzo, well, Rizzo's actually nobody. What am I starting with? Yeah, Gonzo is Charles Dickens, and Kermit the Frog is Bob Cratchit, and you know, you got, you know, amazing actors as well. Michael Caine playing Ebenezer Scrooge, which is just fantastic. You know, I don't think he can really do a bad film, except for the fact that he was in Jaws for the Revenge. But you know, he said he only basically did that for a paycheck, and I can understand. But yeah, you know, it's got that classic Muppet film quality to it. It's always kind of self-parodying, you know, it's always kind of mocking itself. I mean, there's a bit at the beginning where Gonzo introduces himself as Charles Dickens, and Rizzo's like, wait, what? You're not Charles Dickens, you know, he was a human, he was like a literary genius. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I'm just, you know, I'm a narrator, just let it go. And it's kind of a lot of that throughout the film, you know, just let it go. It's a Muppet movie, you know, it's just supposed to be entertaining. Yeah, to be honest, I mean, this is probably one of my favourite Muppet movies. I really like Muppet movies. I mean, they're always quite clever, they're funny. I haven't seen the new one, by the way, which I would quite like to see. Looking forward to that. I hope it's decent. I mean, I like Jason Segel; he should be good. But yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island, the two kind of literary adaptations they did. I know they did like Wizard of Oz and stuff. I'm not really sure about those, to be honest. I mean, sort of later ones tended to trail off a little bit. I mean, Muppets from Space was okay, but I don't know, started to go a bit weird. But yeah, this and Muppet Treasure Island are my two favourite Muppet films. Muppet Treasure Island I probably prefer, just because I find a lot of the songs a bit more memorable. You know, I can sing along to them and stuff. But that just might be because I haven't seen Muppet Christmas Carol as many times. Yeah, so what I was saying about kind of in both cases, in both Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol, they're always kind of referencing and mocking the original a little bit, because I mean, there's an amazing bit in Christmas Carol where Scrooge says, there's more than gravy than the grave about you, when he's talking to the Marleys when he sees them as ghosts appearing. And, you know, that's an actual joke that's in A Christmas Carol. And, you know, the Marleys kind of say, oh, that's a terrible joke. Where do you get all these jokes from? You know, deliberately self-referencing. And it's just kind of jokes like that, you know, make it a family film. Make it not so that it's just for the kids, so that the adults can go, haha, that's brilliant, love it. Yeah, so the story kind of moves through the traditional paces. You know, you get each ghost coming to visit Scrooge, and you get kind of Gonzo and Rizzo acting as these kind of guides through the story, which is nice because they do kind of make it slightly different from the other kind of Christmas Carol incarnations that there've been. And you know, obviously the comic element, and it helps it sort of run through the story, almost playing against the quite dramatic element of the story, because it's quite a melodramatic, well, not melodramatic, but it's quite a it's almost kind of quite a sad, tragic story in some places. You know, he realises that he's kind of misspent a lot of his life, and there's a lot about kind of love and regret and that kind of thing. And it's well done. It is sort of, yeah, like, you know, it's not, it's more sort of the Muppets almost watching and taking part in a more standard adaptation of A Christmas Carol. It's not so much like Treasure Island, where all the stuff's happening and they're all part of it. I mean, they are part of it, but it's obviously it's more about Ebenezer Scrooge, so it's more like they're kind of coming along for the adventure, as it were. And yeah, I mean, Rizzo and Gonzo are constantly fourth wall breaking. I mean, they pretty much talk to the camera most of the time. I don't know whether you can be a fourth wall breaker if you are the narrator, but I mean, you know, they're constantly kind of looking at the camera and giving it that kind of like, yeah, did you just see that? I just saw it. Brilliant. And it's another one of those things that makes a Muppet movie kind of classic. And it works well as a musical as well, as most of the Muppet musicals do. You know, it works because the musical numbers are there for a purpose. They're there to explain the story, help the story move along, and they kind of, you know, they explain what's going on with the characters, they explain what the characters are experiencing, what the feeling is, and what's going on in that scene. They kind of move it along. And that's exactly how musicals should be. Not just somebody walking along and then bursting into song for absolutely no reason, and sometimes in songs that don't have any relevance to the plot whatsoever. And that's what annoys me about musicals. And if I ever do a review of another musical, you know, I'll mention that again, especially if it's one that does do that, and there are a few that do. Yeah. So yeah, the look of the film is really, really nice. I really like the way it looks. It all kind of has this very, you know, you can tell that it's made. There's no obvious sort of computer trickery or that kind of thing. You know, it's very much, these are models, these are puppets, and that's always something that the Muppet movies have always tried to keep true, really, which is really nice. They always have that very real feeling to them, and I think that's part of the appeal. And yeah, some of the spirits. I mean, obviously there's the big Christmas present guy who's, you know, this kind of jolly Father Christmas, and then there's the kind of weird, creepy ghost of Christmas past who she's got like this weird. I don't know whether it was deliberate, but she has kind of got this really weird sort of almost disturbing childlike face to her, and it's sort of, and you know, this lovely floaty dress, and it is kind of a bit weird. And then of course, yeah, the really, really weird looking Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. I mean, he's really this kind of just hooded figure with these long arms and just these fingers at the end of it, and then this just sort of dark hole where his face should be, and it's really disturbing. You know, he sort of looks like a ring wraith or a Death Eater, not a Death Eater, sorry, yeah, no, oh god, what are the things called? That float around Azkaban. Did we just forgotten the name? Dementors. Sorry, yeah, like a Dementor or a ring wraith, or you know, the shadowy figure of death, which is always obviously kind of like what he always is portrayed as. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so to sum up, I really like this film. It is a classic Christmas film. There is no denying that, and it's one of my favourite. It's one of my favourite Muppet films. It's probably one of, if not my favourite adaptation of A Christmas Carol. There are lots, obviously, and each kind of has their own different take to it. And yeah, it's kind of the same with Muppet Treasure Island. Actually, it's probably one of my favourites. But yes, I will finish this review, slightly rambling as it always is, and wish you all a Merry Christmas. Well, I hope you had a Merry Christmas, just been, and a good New Year, 2012. And I will be doing a little summary of some of the films that are going to be coming out in 2012. And yeah, hopefully it's really exciting. And yes, goodbye.